The following presentation is solely for entertainment purposes and not to be taken seriously. While content and characters may be based in truth, this presentation is not meant to offend or harm in any way. It's the Olly Brown Show, America's favorite Thrillbilly. And now, here he is, Olly Billy-Bob Brown.
Hoo-ha! Howdy, y'all. Yee-haw. Shake your tail feathers. Yup, yupper doodle. Let's do it to it. Hoo-ha. Churning the butter. Hope my barn door's not open. Bringing it home. Ta-da! I can't believe this is my reality show.
Sally, don't forget to bring my fresca. Oh, hello there. You must be Mr. Brown. Naldo Aloe Vera. Want a fresca? Sally, make that 2 frescas. This is going to be a great interview. I can tell. Now, just relax. Be yourself. And, say whatever comes to mind, okay?
Oakley dokley pokely, it sounds good to me, Mr. Naldo.
Wonderful. Let's get started.
Quiet on the set. We're on the air in 3, 2, 1.
Good evening. It's breaking news. News worth spreading. It's the WTF Evening News with Naldo Aloe Vera, interviewing interesting people from all over the world. Tonight's special guest is America's favorite Thrillbilly, Olly Billy-Bob Brown. Here's your host, Naldo Aloe Vera.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of Get the Scoop News magazine. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Naldo Aloe Vera. Tonight my guest hails from the Ozark Mountain Country. He amusingly refers to himself as America's favorite Thrillbilly. Tonight's expose features none other than Mr. Olly Billy-Bob Brown. But just who is this Olly Brown? Why is he tonight's special guest? You might be surprised to learn that Mr. Brown was a late entrant into the 2016 presidential race and has been running for the president ever since. Even though the race is over and a winner was declared, Mr. Brown continues to race toward the White House. He's been documenting his journey and has been all over the internet. Let's take a peek.
I have been a-thinking long and hard about entering this here race for the president of the good old U.S. of a capital A. I have always wanted to be a part of something big and help in some way, and I figure it's either now or never.
My name is Olly Billy-Bob Brown, and I am America's favorite Thrillbilly, and yes, I have decided to run for the president! Woohoo!
L, give me an A, give me an S, Vegas, go Las Vegas!
It sounds like quite an adventure. Tonight I will ask Mr. Brown his thoughts on his experiences, political issues and other past participants. Let's get started. Olly Brown, welcome to Get the Scoop.
Well, thank you, Mr. Naldo. I'm happy to be here and chew the fat with you. And if you're handing out scoops, I'd like 2 of them. Please and thank you. I like the vanilla and the chocolate.
Maybe later. First let's talk about this political circus. Again, welcome. I have to tell you that you are quite the anomaly, because you are still running a race that you can't win.
Well, thank you kindly. I don't know exactly what that anomaly is, but I'm happy to be here. Thank you very much.
Let's keep it simple and start by having you give us your thoughts and shed some light on a few subjects.
Well, that sounds good to me, Mr. Naldo.
All right then. Now, Olly. They say that sometimes we learn things on hindsight.
Now, when you say hindsight, do you mean we got eyes in the back of our heads? Because if that's true, that explains why my mama always caught me with my hand in the cookie jar. Or do you mean we are seeing things out our backside, like our butkus? If that's the case, I can see why things look pretty messy out there these days.
No. I just want to look back on the last year. We'd like to speak with you about some of the participants in the race for the White House. Let's start by looking back at the list of candidates. I am going to give you some names one at a time and then you can comment as you see fit. First name. Sanders. Do you support Sanders?
Oh, you bet I do. Let me tell you something. You cannot survive in this world without Sanders. That's because when you got yourself a house and you need to fill it up with a table and some chairs, a desk, and other kinds of wood-top furniture, you just about can't do it without having yourself a good sander. Whether that be a feller who can use the sandpaper and who can rub it back and forth like this, or one of them electric power tool sanders. If you don't sand it all down smooth like once you built it, you could get a bunch of splinters up your wazoo. And let me tell you what, you don't want to be a visiting Wazoo City. No, you don't. Yes, indeed, I do support the Sanders.
How about Rubio?
Well, I don't know any feller who doesn't like himself a good old-fashioned shoulder or back rubio. I think they also call that a massage. It's nice for your feet, too. I ain't got no problem with the rubio except to say you don't want to be a rubio me in the wrong way unless you want to know what rock'em and sock'em feels like. That's right.
And what do you think about Cruz?
Cruz. Well, he ain't no Tom, is he? That mission is done gone impossible, ain't it? I'm just kidding. But this cruise sounds interesting. Come to think of it, I personally have never gone on one of them there cruises. I'd like to do that someday. Maybe after I finish doing this here race, I can go down there on a cruise and rustle me up a few of them Caribbeans I heard so much about. I hear tell you cook 'em up with some cornbread and greens. And you got yourself a good home-cooked meal, you do. You can just walk up to folks if you smell them Caribbeans are cooking and ask them directly, "Hey, Jamaican Caribbeans tonight?" And then you might get you a mess of them. And doesn't that sound good? They call them Jamaican Caribbeans because they grow down there in this place called Jamaica. Good stuff it is.
Interesting. Talk with us about Mrs. Clinton.
Well, that kind of sounds like one of them there songs that's teaching you how to solve a problem like Maria, don't it? But to me, that sounds more like a curtain, which is something you draw at night to keep folks on the outside from seeing what's on the inside. And I guess I would call that a cover-up, wouldn't you? Not much more I can say about that. The only other comment is that if Miss Hillary didn't make it up to the hill, it's because she overshot her goal and went on over it. That happens sometimes.
Last but not least, talk about Trump and his movement.
Well, all I can tell you about Trump is what I see on the news and in the funny papers. I ain't met him myself, but I hear tell that the only movement that this feller is really successful at is a bowel movement of the mouth. My mama would call people like that a little hell in a handbasket, she would. But the way I see it is like this. Back where I come from, Trump ain't nothing but a rump with a capital T in front of it. And some folks would call that an ass. I'm just saying, it's true. That or he might be like a bottle of rum wrapped in TP. You know, like toilet paper? You get it? TP wrapped around a rum bottle? Oh, that's Trump. Now that's funny, I don't care who you are. But truthfully, I think that Trump ain't nothing but a mean old gator. You know, like a slimy little reptile that crawls on their belly and spends a lot of time down there in those Florida Everglades. You know what I'm saying? I mean, sometimes them gators, they just end up in your swimming pool and all up in your business. And they can get real vicious like. You don't want to mess with them after that. And this Trump is kind of like one of them there instigators, I think. Just stirring up trouble. He's liable to do anything. Snap at you just like that, he will. You got to be careful where you step and watch your back, too. As for me personally, since I don't know him, I don't know much about him, I guess only time alone will tell whether he can make a difference for the good or not.
Okay, Olly. Let's switch gears. When you entered the race last year, you missed out on most of the events leading up toward the primaries. Tell us, what did you think of Super Tuesday?
Super Tuesday? Well, oh yes, I like it. It's a good day if you ask me. I think it's the day that comes after Monday, by the way. And since Monday is the first day of the week, and most people are really just not always happy to get up and a-going on a Monday, then it's Tuesday that comes right after that there Monday. And I think that's why they call it Super Tuesday. Because it's just so super. And the week is already off and running, it is. So I guess Super Tuesday's a good day. And that's all I can say about that.
Here's a great topic. How would you grow the economy?
Oh, well, that's an easy one. I'd grow more corn, because originally Americans were and should be corn-fed Americans. We love our corn, we do. Goes all the way back to the Pilgrims, don't you know? We got your corn on the cob, candy corn, corn fritters, corn muffins, corn niblets, creamed corn, popcorn, corn poke, corn mazes at Halloween and Thanksgiving time, and all other kinds of corny products. And why not? Let's face it, we even like our jokes corny too, and we like to drink the fermented corn in those red Solo cups. Yes, I think growing corn is the way to go. In fact, my neighbor, one farm over, she was the one that invented that corn-based fuel for the cars. I've known her since I was a young'un. Maybe you know her too. Her name is Ethel Now. Anyway, if it were up to me, I'd make sure every American gets a pack of corn seed to grow every summer. Can you imagine all those ears popping up all over the country? I think if people would just use their ears to listen, we would turn this economy around. Yes, sir. Planting corn is the answer to growing the economy. For what it's worth, that's my take on it.
And, Olly, how about the state of Israel?
Israel? Well, riddle me this, Naldo. Is what real? If you're talking about what I think you're talking about, well, yeah, you got it. These whiskers up here on my sourpuss of a face, they is real, that's for sure. Don't want to yank 'em, though. Know what I mean? That might hurt a bit if you do. And that's all I can say about that. No matter how you look at it, I promise you, is real. And in this world today, it's a good question to ask on what's real and what isn't real, if you know what I'm saying. Mm-hmm.
What can you say about Turkey?
Ho, 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 ho. We're talking turkey now, ain't we? We can go there. Now, that's a subject I can talk about. I guess the first thing I can say is that whoever gave us the turkey really were giving us the bird, ain't that right? Truth be told, I don't know too many folks who won't go all out for turkey. And one thing I can tell you abso-positively, I ain't the type who'd ever quit cold turkey on turkey, especially if it's tofu turkey. That's because I'm a vegetarian, In fact, I remember having turkey shoots growing up. We'd line up and shoot at a target, and the one that done got closest to the bullseye, they won themselves a turkey. And one turkey can feed an entire family at holiday time and even leave you with some leftovers for sandwiches. So as far as I'm concerned, we need to keep the turkey around for a long time, especially if it's a jive turkey. Those are the best. And when you're talking turkey, you're talking family get-togethers, and that's what I like about that. Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts on Iran?
Iran? Well, that's the whole purpose of being out here running in this here race, to tell the people that I ran. Yes, sir, I ran for the president. Mm-hmm.
And what about Iraq?
Well, Naldo, let's wait until I get far enough down the road a piece before we start telling folks that Iraq. I still needs to make it to that there finish line before I'm done with this here race. And then I'll be rocking.
Let's move on. Speak with us about your views related to the situation in Syria and Aleppo.
Ooh, yum, Syria. I love it. I support it. I support Syria. I love putting that sweet stuff on top of my flapjacks come a Sunday morning, and there ain't nobody, I do mean nobody, who ought to give me any kind of lepo on that.
Let's discuss the subject of China.
China. Well, can't do without them. How else you gonna have a meal without the good china? You know, my granny used to call me a bull in a china closet. So I got to be careful when I use that good, fine china. But without it, none of us would ever have learned to clean our plates up at supper time, now would we?
Talk about the Russian situation.
Well, I don't get that one. I mean, seriously, where's the fire, folks? Slow down, sit a spell, chew the fat, and watch the grass grow. Ain't gonna hurt you one bit, none. No sense in all this rushing around like a chicken with your head cut off. The best answer to all this rushing around stuff is to sit back and relax and take a load off a bit. And then you can really see what's going on out there in the world. Now that's my answer to the Russian situation.
If it were up to you, what would you do about our social problems?
Well, that's easy. I'd say let's have more of them. The more the merrier. You know, down home, come a Saturday night, we always had a get-together. Folks from all over the county would gather, eat, drink up, and be social-like. And some of them folks would even be called Mary. And let me tell you, that Mary, she knows how to have a good time. Of course, sometimes there'd be a bit of a brawl, but for the most part, it's always a load of fun. So I think, ain't no problem with being more social. Let's party, right?
I want to continue this evening's interview with our guest Olly Brown by addressing current topics in the news. First up, what do you think about terrorism?
Well, if and I heard you correctly, and I think I did, 'cause I cleaned out my ear earlier today with one of them there Q-tips that looks nothing like the letter Q, by the way. Not at all. No, where was I? Oh, yes, terrorism. Well, I always thought that tourism was good business. If you got something that a bunch of folks want to come and see, say like the Grand Canyon or that Niagara Falls, then folks will come from miles around and pay you to see it. So tourism is a good thing, the way I see it. In fact, I have seen all over this country since I've been running for the president, all these signs telling me which way the tour is. Only problem is I ain't found a tour yet, but give me some time on that one. Tourism stimulates the economic growth by giving folks a place to go on vacation and have some fun.
Your response to this headline, a quiet giant of investing weighs in on Trump.
Well, I could have told you that was going to happen because of his Buddha belly situation. Yep, that Mr. Donald's got that Buddha belly situation going on. I guess they were bound to weigh him sooner or later. I just hope he don't tip the scales, if you know what I'm saying.
Did you hear about the inauguration?
Oh, no way! Really? They had an inauguration? Well, dadgum, I missed it. You sure? Did they have one somewhere? Well, we used to have those all the time down in the holler. They're a lot of fun. You see, you grab your best hogs and you set them loose, and then you set out to call them all back to the hog pen. We call that an inauguration. All you gotta do is yell out, "Suey, suey," and they recognize your voice and come running back for their slop of supper. And that ain't no hogwash,
Did you know he won the race?
Really? Well, I knowed somebody did. Wasn't sure who, but if it were Mr. Donald, well, I guess that makes him the wiener. As for me, I'm still trying to get there, and I'm going to do it to it, too.
Any concerns about the pipeline?
Oh, now that's a good one. My mama always said to be on the lookout for what's a-coming up and down the pipeline. And I guess that's 'cause all of the gossip and rumors that keep on coming down that old pipeline. I think she wanted to learn me that just 'cause someone said so don't mean that that's the way it is. 'Cause it's like a game of telephone, it is, where one person passes it on to another person and so on, and then eventually when it comes back to you, the story is completely different than the truth. So all I can say is be careful what comes down the pipeline. And better yet, just don't get involved with it at all.
Next headline. The new reality on TV, all Trump all the time.
Well, now, I do remember him being on some reality show, and he might do well to heed his own words, as my pa would say.
What words are those, Olly?
Oh, well, don't you remember? He used to sit up on his high horse and say, "You're fired." He sure did.
What is your comment on this headline, Trump reluctant to offer apologies?
Oh, well, now that's okay. As long as he says he's sorry and says it like he means it.
And this one. In long history of presidential untruths, Trump's in a class by himself.
Well, I think they call that detention, don't they? Must be lonely living a lie if and that's what's going on. That's what I get out of that anyway. Otherwise, being in a class all by your lonesome must be the same thing as being your own island, which I hear tell that no man is.
Next. Holdings put Trump at high risk of conflicts.
Guess you gotta be careful on who you're holding, hugging, or groping.
Trump has the opportunity to assuage country's anger.
What, really? He did that? Well, I feel sorry for that country singer's ass.
Next headline. Shift on hacking.
As long as no one gets all choked up in all that hacking, only one way to stop all that hacking, and that's lemon and honey combined. Old family recipe. Works every time.
Home price figures show Clinton-Trump split.
Now, ain't that Clinton-Trump split kind of like a banana split? Well, all I can say is it ain't no good without a cherry on top it.
Kindling talk of an arms race with a vow to outlast them all.
Oh, well, arms race. We have a lot of them arms races back down home in the holler. Except we called them wrestling. Arm wrestling. It's a one-on-one sport, it is. I tried it once by myself once, and the arm wrestling doesn't work when it's just you, yourself, and I. So, you just gotta have two to tango on that one.
What do you think about this one? Trump calls for nuke boost.
Well, I know a lot about that nookie business. Us kids used to do that to each other all the time. Only thing is, we didn't call it the nookie business. We called it nuggies. We also gave each other Indian rug burns, finger thumps, and titty twisters. The only other boost I know about comes in flavors like chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry, and my granny has one every day, she does.
Republicans' path to repealing Obamacare.
Well, I ain't never repealed a banana after peeling it. Don't know how to repeal it, especially after done eating that nanner, so I don't know how to repeal anything, let alone a nanner.
Trump seeks path to Mexico barrier.
I guess I would tell him to start out on the Chisholm Trail if and he wants to get to Mexico. But if we're talking about a Mexican barrier, well, I think they have a pack of what they call Trojans for that. It works in all languages. Just have to use your condom sense, you do. Just don't buy the bearskin kind, because we need to save the grizzly bear. Because some people have strong feelings about them bears. Just ask that Betsy DeVos or that PETA.
10-step program for Trump trauma.
Boy, that Trump is all over the place, ain't he? I think that headline means you have to repeat dump the Trump at least 10 times before you can get rid of the trauma.
Trump expands Secretary of State candidates.
I guess that means he's fattening up his secretaries, which can't be good because it promotes obesity in America, and we just can't have that.
Trump and his DOE nominee support plan that undercuts public education.
Since he's talking about the DOE, or the dough, as you say, I think he's saying that the buck stops here, right in my pocket.
China amplifies warning on Taiwan, and Trump takes a tougher line.
Well, read between the lines is what I say to that one. If you're doing a tough line, that usually means you're doing hardcore drugs. And in this case, the headline is about tying one on using what I hope is not the good China. Some might see that tougher line as you saying, I'm a-storting a stronger bump. But my advice is to say nope to dope on that one.
This is a good one. Trump made promises he can't remember to keep.
I think they call that dementia or Alzheimer's, and they have some medicine for that, I think. That should help.
Appointments are blowing Trump's chance at redemption.
I ain't surprised about that. I think Mr. Clinton did the same thing with a young lady intern a few years back, didn't he?
Here are two headlines to consider. Trump picks pair of women amid recount rage, and Trump taps two. Please respond.
Well, that headline, or actually those two headlines, says it all, don't you know? We know what and who he's doing now, don't we? That's two headlines confirming the same thing. Guess that ain't called no fake news, now is it? Well, I don't want you to bleep me or anything, not on TV, you know, but I have heard a lot on the radio and in the funny papers about what they're saying is fake news. Well, I don't think it's fake news that he was saying. I think we all heard him wrong. I think what he really meant to say was, fuck yous, if you know what I'm saying. You can figure it out, right?
This is an unusual one. Unlikely bedfellows, outside Trump needs Ryan and McConnell, and they need him.
Wow. I did not know that Ryan and McConnell were bedfellers. Does that mean that they have a same-sex agenda, or are they just sleeping together?
Choice of Bannon, as chief strategist draws backlash.
Oh, somebody got a whooping. That's what that is a-saying. My folks used to get the belt after me once in a while, too. And sometimes they'd make me cut out my own switch from a tree for my whooping. Gots to be careful. Watch your step.
Glass ceiling holds, but Clinton joins line of historical moments for women.
Nearest I can tell, that glass ceiling is best known as a skylight. And during the rainy season, you want that skylight to hold. But for the life of me, I don't know why Miss Hillary would get all hysterical about it, as you say.
Trumpian triumphalism is being overblown.
Oh, that's too many long words. It sounds kind of like a disease or something, so I'd like to pass on that one.
Acting AG fired.
Guess they weren't very good at acting, huh? Oh well, I guess they won't be accepting an Oscar, my wiener, this year.
White House stands firm.
Well, that's good. I guess they ain't got no termites then now, do they? Glad the White House ain't going soft on us.
Documentary trumped recalls politics as usual.
Now what went wrong now? Can't they get it right for once? Folks are getting tired of all these recalls. Get it fixed already. Come on.
Due to time constraints, let's do some rapid-fire word association answers to speed this along. Just say the first thing that comes to your mind. Here we go.
Goody, because that was a bunch of headlines. I didn't think they'd stop a-coming. Plus, I'd like games, so let's shoot 'em at me.
First name is Bannon.
Bannon. Well, ban off. Ban on, ban off. Ban on, ban off.
Next is Heller.
Hell or high water. Or go to Heller, as I've seen them say in the funny papers.
Sessions.
Sessions. Okay, now hold on, let me think. No, nope. I ain't got nothing on that one. Gonna have to skip that one.
Spicer.
Ah, well, the spicier the better. Clears out my sinuses real good if I use it, as long as it's not so hot it burns my mouth. But if you're talking about the Old Spicer Stank Purdy spray, I ain't much into that. Phew-wee,
Betsy DeVoe.
DeVos? Grrr, like a grizzly bear. Hello, Peter.
Gorsuch.
Gorsuch. Well, no such thing.
Flynn.
Flynn? Well, cough up that Flynn and spit it out.
Pompeo.
Pompous. How's that?
I'm afraid we're all out of time, but I think you certainly gave us a lot to think about, and we wish you luck in trying to finish your race, despite that it's officially over.
Why, thank you very much, Mr. Naldo. I ain't no quitter. Gonna do it to it anyway. Sure am.
That's all the time we have tonight on Get the Scoop. Join us next time for another edition of the WTF Evening News and Special Event. Until then, good evening.
I'll see you later. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.